Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Life Happens Podcast. I am your host, Grace. As you know, the Life Happens Podcast is a podcast where we take our spirituality and we combine it with practical things to create this beautiful balance that you see. We're actually working on a balance. But anyway, so guys, today we have a guest. We have Justin from ELEV8, and he's part of the BS3 Network. Hi, Justin. Thank
Hello,
you for
hello.
being on
So
here.
happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. Kim, how was your week, girl?
Y'all, I am really excited. This week, I started my first ukulele lesson.
Bye.
So,
Bye. Ukulele.
yes, I'm very excited. The first lesson went very well, getting adjusted to how to hold it.
Oh my
And I learned one little. So I'm very excited. We'll see. I may play something for you guys later on. Give me a couple of months to get it
Wait,
down.
hold on. What about the tap dancing
I'm
classes you were
still doing
taking?
tap.
Oh shit. Okay.
What
Yes.
what type of tap? Just regular tap or is
Just
it
regular tap, just learning how to do certain things. So I love it. It's fun. I'm not very good at it, but you know,
yeah, one of my buddies, him and his wife, they just got married back in December.
mhm.
And I mean beautiful wedding. And
Hmm.
it was so weird. They got married at this mansion actually out by you in Denton, right?
Oh wow.
And they had like separate rooms with different themes. And one of the rooms, because she's a dance teacher, she
Hmm.
had tap dancing, and
Oh,
it was crazy to watch that. I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much goes into it.
I know. Maybe I'll get good one day and just.
Well, first you got to play the ukulele because that's something that a lot of people don't even know what that instrument is.
I
So
know.
Yeah.
yeah,
I picked
Yeah.
it because it only has four strings instead of a guitar that has five strings. And then, I just like the way it looks. So I'm really excited. My
That's
first lesson.
that's really cool.
And also today, I rode my bike for the first time in like a year, almost 2 years. Y'all, I can't. It's so hard. I
Was it
can't.
that bad, girl?
It
Was
was.
it
I
that
was
bad?
huffing. I was puffing. People were looking at me like, "Are you okay?" Because I kept stopping.
Wow.
It was
Why didn't you
bad.
go out in the street? Why don't you just stay in the yard or by the like
Because
at
I
the
can't. I can't steer it. I'm like, so I need to be in the street because I'm steering like this,
but you
so
got
I
a
can't
mountain
get on the
bike, or
sidewalk.
what type
I,
of bike is it?
it's a 10 speed.
I
I'm
can
just
just
learning,
imagine.
y'all. I'm just learning. And over here, everything is hills by my house.
Okay.
Everything is so. It's like, help me, Jesus, help me.
Oh my
Going
goodness.
down is the best part
I can do it. I can go down. Down is easy.
then.
Wow. Well, I cannot ride a bike.
I know. I'm learning.
I cannot ride a bike. Like when I was growing up in South Africa, we had this yard that was full of gravel, and it
Mhm.
was downhill. And I took a bike, and I was like, I'm gonna learn. And y'all, it messed me up. I never wanted to.
Gravel, of course you coming off of that.
I was done with that. Then when I first got married and I was living in Kansas, my ex tried to teach me to ride a bike, but he was not very patient. And I ended up throwing the bike and cussing his behind out. And I never had the desire to learn. It was just terrible.
Is
I
it
mean,
you're not able to balance, or what is it?
I need a three-wheeler. Like, I'm not kidding. I want a bike that has two wheels at the back. I want a tricycle, damn it. But I
Oh,
mean, but can you get a grown person tricycle? No.
I think you can.
I got a 3-wheel motorcycle I ride.
Oh, see?
Well,
See?
it's 2 wheels at the front though, and one at the back. So
Okay. Would
it's,
that is
it's
that
yeah, that's a lot of fun.
is
I
that
know.
easier though
My
to
husband has a Harley, and he's always like, "Let's go for a ride." And I'm so afraid of motorcycles. I'm like clutching him when I'm riding, and he said it'd be so great if you knew how to ride one. Just learn how to ride one. And I'm like, I'm so afraid.
That's bonding there. That's
One
bonding.
day, one day, maybe I'll get one like yours.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I strongly recommend that because I'm so afraid of 2 wheels and the speed
Yeah.
you get on that. But that 3-wheel, I'm telling you, and I get some speed. I got it up to
Hi
like
Brian.
10, and I was happy.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
no problem. That's my baby there.
Are those the ones they call spider bikes?
It's the smaller one. It's called the Riker. So
Oh,
it's like
okay.
the spider, but it's just smaller.
It's just smaller. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. See you
Yeah.
on the road with your 2 fingers down, 3 fingers,
Three fingers down.
three
Yeah.
fingers down.
Yeah, three down.
How was your weekend, Justin? What did you do?
My weekend was great. It always goes by too fast though. So we didn't really do too much. Melissa had a gathering at her family, so we went for that and just fellowship and ate and just kicked it with them for a minute. So it was good. I enjoyed myself as always.
No, that's
What
cool.
about you, Rabia?
I had the honor, y'all, of doing ministry with my oldest. Like I was like, we went to somebody's house to pray for somebody, and I was like, "You're gonna pray," and she was like, "But mom," I said, "Girl, I'll start, and then you just come in where you fit in," and she did that, and it was amazing.
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm like watching it, and I'm like, this is my seed. This is my seed. Like, and people don't understand when you put the work in when they're young, when they get older, and then that relationship just develops with God, and you're like, that's my seed. And you don't, and the thing of it is, I tell people, you don't have to sit for hours because no kid's going to sit there and listen to you read the Bible for hours. It doesn't make sense. It's those interactions in the car while you just in the house, make it intentional. And I just found that it's stuck with them, you know. So anyway, but that's what's my weekend. It was kind of cool though.
I love that. That's awesome.
I think that's why a lot of young people that I know are more drawn to the non-denomination churches because it's not your traditional 4 or 5 prayers, then let's do an offering, then let's preach, and let's have another offering. Then before y'all leave, one more offering. Really like, straight to the point. Because I've been at churches that done like 3 or 4 offerings, and I'm like, hey, come on now.
Right.
Really?
Like,
That's no dollars y'all done got up out of me. My good
you telling on yourself now.
Offering. There you go. God bless.
No, I understand that.
That's the bike right there, the little 3-wheel.
Oh, nice. I like it.
That thing there, man. I really enjoy that. Tell your husband, get you one. They're not expensive either.
They're not?
No, not really. I mean, I got mine for brand new out the crate was like $8.5. So that ain't
really? Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, nice little toy to have. And then you can ride with him without. All you got to get is your Class M, which is really like a motorcycle license. But you don't have a clutch or anything. It's fully automatic, so you just go.
Oh, cool! I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Strongly recommend it.
So Brian says, I agree, Justin. I need my weekend to start Friday and end Wednesday. For real.
Wow.
That's a long ass week.
I'll get my logins for work at that point.
Like for real. So guys, this is the parts of the show where we have the Dear Grace, Dear Kim segments. Yes. So Kim's going to read a scenario. And we want you guys to join us with your opinions and tell us what you're thinking. Okay. So go ahead.
All right, let's start off here. Advice. I've known my fiance for 5.5 years. Mm-hmm. Been together for 4 years, engaged for 3.5 years. But every time something wedding related is mentioned, he chokes, freaks out. I know, not just for him, that his previous marriage was living hell, but I'm not her. He even states I'm nothing like her. I removed my rings a few nights ago and put them on his bedside table, which ended up in a verbal war. I don't know if he's just scared from his past, wanting to marry purely for my future inheritance, which is to be quite substantial, or if he's changed his mind or only staying due to our 2 kids. He recently set a date for next year, but earlier this week, I showed him a bouquet in a store and he choked again. I'm not in a rush to get married. I couldn't care less if we lived in partnership for another 10 plus years. He asked me to marry him. To me, that indicates he wants to marry me. He's been choking since he proposed. I never rushed him to propose either. Partnership, marriage, and kids were not part of my life plan. I was a free spirit, enjoyed traveling alone. He knew that. Having said that, I do love him and our kids and have accepted and embraced the change in my life plan.
Mm. What do you think, Justin? What are your thoughts?
Man. Number one, that's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Number two, I would say this as a man, most of us, especially given that scenario where he's already been married, has been hurt, clearly is still dealing with some things from that regard. But given the fact that this woman is willing to say that wasn't in my plan, most men, to be quite honest with you, a lot of us do. I don't want to say feel pressured, but a lot of us are more so along the lines of, if I can just have her in my life forever without necessarily doing the marriage or doing the paperwork on that, if we can have that type of bond, that's a beautiful thing. But if the woman is able to say, hey, I'm willing to do whatever, in my mind, he proposed to me, so in my mind, that means he wants to marry me. Well, where's the communication with that? Because if you give that man the opportunity to express himself or express what he's really feeling without him being concerned about hurting your feelings or being concerned about, well, what's the outcome of that? Is she going to give me the ultimatum of marry me or leave me? Then you'll be surprised at the outcome that you get. In a lot of cases, that pull men in closer to you when you give him that opportunity of, hey, we don't necessarily have to do this. I love you and I'm here for the long run. But if this is what you want to do, then I'm with it. But if not, I'm totally fine. But he needs to establish that as well, because she makes a great point. He proposed to me, so in my mind, he wants to marry me. Can't fault the woman for being proactive and trying to plan things accordingly.
Okay.
Kim, what do you think? Because he's on my nerves. Mika said, hey, ladies, and my handsome cousin. Now, girl, all that choking scares me, but he will do what you allow. And I'm of the mindset that if you ask me to marry me, you're ready to do it ASAP. Facts, Mika. Facts. What you talking for? Okay, well, how long you want to wait? First of all, how long you want to wait? I mean, what, you engage what? How long we waiting? See, because when I come into the relationship, I'm telling you up front, I'm a wife. So I'm 37. So I'm not waiting 10 more freaking years. Now, granted, I don't want to have any more kids, right? So kids is not an issue for me because I have kids. But what the hell are we waiting for? Why are you choking every time? Have you changed your mind, sir? What? What's up?
Hey, this is me personally speaking. I've never been married before. I'm engaged. I know that this is the woman that I'm choosing to spend the rest of my life with. Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to do it, just like I tell her all the time, we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. That's the wedding, that's the honeymoon, that's the relationship in all. Like, yo, I'm doing this, I'm doing it one time only. The fact that man is still there isn't over the fact of, oh, we got kids. Us as men, we love our kids, but we can move on, no problem. True. Women have more of that attachment to the kids than what men do. As long as we have some type of rapport, some type of relationship where I can speak and see my kids, I'm okay without being with you. That's okay. So I don't know. Like, some women put time limit on things, and you may not qualify for that. You may not be ready for that. Just because you think you're wife material does not mean you're wife material. Just because a man thinks he's husband material doesn't mean he's really ready to be husband material. Because it's a level of, okay, realistically, tell me what your expectations are. Because if I can't meet your expectations, then we need to have this conversation before we walk down the aisle.
Right.
That's just me.
My thing is this: I've been in therapy for 3 years, honey. I've been working on me. I've been strictly working on me for a purpose, right? And if you engage me and then every time I talk about it, you're gonna choke, I can't not ask the question. Like I have to address the elephant. That's my personality. I'm gonna ask you, like, what's up? Have you changed your mind? But I'm not gonna take my rings off. I'll actually throw it away. And I'm joking. I'm not
Oh,
gonna take my no. I'm not gonna take my rings off because to me that's like almost it feels manipulative. Like if you don't do this, then I'm gonna do that. Like, I don't like that. We're too grown for that. Like state your
and,
case. You know what I mean? Like
and
what?
that's exactly probably what that man in that scenario as a man, that's exactly what you're gonna feel. If you take that ring off, in my opinion, you're telling me that, hey, I don't want this anymore.
Right.
And you know, of course it's gonna be a hard conversation to have because you made a move that I feel like, yo, you shouldn't have did that.
Right.
But it's all about communication once again. And that's my thing. Realistically, hey, we need to have this conversation so we know where we're at with each other. And you made a great point. You're working on you. But when you bring someone else in the mix, that changes your dynamic as an individual as well, because
Yeah.
you start taking on that individual's personality, their traits, some of the things they do that you may like, some of the things they do you may not like. But it changes your dynamic as an individual as well. So you working on you is great, but when you bring someone else in the mix, what does that look like? And you have to have time to figure that out.
This is true.
I
Um,
I think that for I don't think she wants to leave him, taking off the rings. Like you said, it was just like this, like, I'm gonna show you, and like she said, an argument occurred behind it. I mean, they have two children. They've been together for what, four
almost
years?
no five and
What,
she's known him
five
for five
years?
and a half years.
They've been together for 5.5 years. So it sounds like marriage is, she said it's not important to her, but I think it is important to her.
Yes.
I've had a friend that was dating a guy for 5 years. Hey, she loved him, he loved her. She was like, hey, I want to get married. And he was like, oh, yeah, 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 okay, we'll get married. My parents said I have to finish college first. So she was like, okay. So then he finishes college. And then she's like, okay, so are we going to get married? You finish college. And he was like, well, my parents want me to get established in a job first. And she's like, oh, okay, get established in a job. Well, then he gets established in a job. And she's like, okay, so are we getting married? And he was like, well, I'm going to give it a couple of years. Let me make some money. Let me, do. And so she was at the point where it was like, I've been with you for 7 years. If you do not want to marry me, just say so. And so he went out and
Mm-hmm.
bought her a ring
And then
and showed it to her, like, look what I just bought. I bought you this ring. And she was like, okay, you bought me a ring. But he was like, so can we just wait until
yeah,
after I get this? And she's like, okay, no, I'm done. And she walked away. I mean, it was
right,
really hard for her because she really loved him. But I was like, yes, girl, walk away. That dude, he's making up every excuse not to marry you. But one thing is, you getting everything you can from the cow, for free. So he wasn't ready,
But
So
that's my thing. Is he really getting everything for free? At that point, if they have made a commitment to each other, they have, you know, established their relationship within their friends and family. I'm not saying don't marry. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm
right.
saying is, if you telling her no, you need to leave, is that really good advice? Because maybe it just wasn't the right time for that man.
no, no, it was, she had to leave. No. And she left, and she is now married to a great guy and have a child. And that guy was
See,
never going to marry her.
that's seven. Okay, and in all honesty, you got to think about this, right? As women, we have a time limit where our eggs are good. Okay, after a certain time, this shit ain't good no more. Now, if you want kids, I'm not
Exactly.
waiting. Like I'm not waiting. I am not. Like if I need, if I want to have kids, there's no way. Like we old now. I mean, what? 7 years, 7 freaking years. And every time I ask you, and see, I wouldn't have asked. I'm not gonna keep asking you. I'm gonna leave
Yeah.
your ass. I'm not asking you. Like to me, it feels like now she's chasing him. And men are hunters. Men don't want a woman that's chasing them. I mean, you put effort forth, of course, but you don't chase. I mean, it sounds like she was chasing him. And granted, because he kept saying, and she trusted what he was saying. Okay, wait. No, sir. Bye. Good day. Have the most amazing life. I wish you well. At that point, after 7 years, it's too long.
It's too long,
The
right?
Brian says not ready, and then he says, but does she love that guy like she loved the first guy?
Bingo. That's legitimate.
Yes, I mean,
The question, I mean, what you said was phenomenal. Like, she loved this guy, and you knew this guy loved her. For some people, I'm not saying all, I'm not saying most, I'm saying some people, marriage, some men do not see the benefit of a marriage. Some men just do not see the benefit because you think about it, who does it really benefit in the long run? If this goes left, who's going to be looked at as the bad guy? If this goes left, who's going to be looked at to be financially responsible for that relationship? And I agree. Hey, she had all the red flags she needed to see when it was, let me graduate college, let me get established. I totally get that. I totally understand that. But at what point does this woman decide that, you know what, I love this man, this is who I want to be with, this is who I'm beside, this is who I'm riding with? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mika makes a very valid point. She said, that's the point. I'm not pressuring you to do anything. But if after 7 years you don't know, I'll be praying for you in my next relationship. I've been told by males that men know within 6 months if they see themselves marrying you. That's a fact because I have
Is
8
that
brothers.
true? Is that true?
Listen, Kim, I have 8 brothers, and they told me so in South Africa, well, it's like you marry a virgin, and they're Muslim, right? But they were sleeping with all the women in town, right? But they wanted to marry a virgin. They married virgins, but those people were just like getting it out the way, sowing your seed or whatever. So my brother told me, he said, if a man wants you, he will come for you.
I think that that's true. It definitely, if a man wants you, he's going to come for you. Totally agree. But knowing within the first 6 months, no, that's not smart. Now, you hear that, and to be real with you, in my opinion, Disney got a lot of these women messed up out here. There's no Snow White. There's no...
I know, right? Disney got them.
Yeah, there's no Shrek. There's no, Kiss the Frog, he turns into the prince. That shit's not realistic. So if we're going to be realistic about life in general, most men, yeah, they know. We don't really mature and know until later on in life, like, wow, that was a good one there. Damn, I missed out on that one, But
Right.
Knowing in the first 6 months, no. Because when you dating someone or you getting to know someone, you're meeting that representative, right? So
Exactly. Come on.
they're gonna pull out all the stops to wow you, impress you, to make you feel like this is why you need me. This is why you should be with me. And especially us as men, most of us will pull out all the stops to impress you, and then we get what we want out of you. It becomes, all right, either I like you or I don't. Or if, there's no real connection there or no substance there, then all right, I just got to cut my losses. See, most women wouldn't be able to handle men if men would just come out and be honest with them like, yo, you're not wife material. You're a great girlfriend. You're great here. But this level, you're not there.
But see, I think the way you say it is how you say it. For me, if somebody was out front and just told me the freaking truth, I would respect that.
You don't really have a choice but to respect that.
No, I can act crazy or wild out, but I'm not going to do that. But think about it, because people will wild out. They will. But that just tells you where they are emotionally and where they are with their mental health, right? Because this is the reality. As a woman, you have, and even a man, you have numerous people in your inbox, right? You just choose to be with one person because you could be with Tom, Dick, and Harry and everybody else. I choose to be with one person. Okay. So if this man doesn't want me, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to sit here and wallow and cry about it? I can't do that. That's not realistic. That's going to mess with my mental health, which affects my ability to write, which affects everything. So no, you don't have that power over me, baby. That's not going to happen. Anyway, Brian says, but what if you assumed he's not ready to make all your dreams come true because of their fantasy Justin is speaking about? That is very real because men want to make sure that they can take care of their families. And I understand that. And I've heard my brothers talking about that. So I get that. But don't ask me to marry you and then you are functioning fully on emotions and then you change your mind. If you change your mind, please let me know. Baby, let me know. Don't string me along. That's all I'm saying.
I
Let
know,
me
in the
know.
middle of it. Don't date me for 2 years and then
Seven,
you're just going through the
seven.
motions.
Hell
And it's
no.
like, I really don't see you as my wife, but I'm just going to keep dating you until something better comes along. I don't, guys do that. And I do not like that.
But that's not. So most of us, if we're dating a woman, what have our conversations been? Are we openly dating, meaning, hey, I'm with you right now until something better comes along? Most people are not signing up for that. Like I said, most guys won't tell a woman, yo, you don't qualify to be my wife. Like, and the reason we won't tell you that is because either we're banking on you to step up and become that, or we're just afraid of losing that woman in that moment. And that's what, in that scenario, that's what it was. He told her he got her a ring so she can continue to, I guess, just either stay with him or work harder to elevate herself to that level. Because it's three levels in the dating world for guys. You have your, what I like to call your little jump offs, where hey, she already know what time it is. You have your girlfriend, where it's like, yeah, she's good. I'm willing to see where this can go. And then you have that wife material. And sometimes you got women that can't get off that jump off stage or can't get off that girlfriend stage because they become comfortable. They become lax.
That's true. Brian says again, I agree with Justin. Most people, no matter how you say it, will take it wrong.
Yeah.
True, true. And it depends where you are. And I also think it depends on age. And sometimes age, because I've seen some old fools. So, I mean, maybe that's not even the right comment. But it just depends on where you are, I
Truth
feel.
is always better. It's always better.
Agreed.
Even
You,
if it hurts, truth is always
that's one
better.
thing. You ladies are able to say that because of where you are in life now. But
True.
imagine yourself being, let's say, early 20s or hell, even early 30s. You wouldn't be saying that. You would be looking at it like, this dude just wasted my time, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay, when I was dating William, I was dating William in my 20s,
uh-huh.
right? Because me, we got a long story. But anyway, when we were dating, we dated for 2 years when I first met
Mhm.
him. We dated for 2 years. After 2 years, William came over to my house and I was like, hey, I want to talk to you. And he was like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, where is this relationship going? We have been dating for 2 years. Do you want to get married at some point? William sat there and said, no, I think I'm too young to get married. I don't see myself getting married right now. I told William, well, then we need to end this relationship. And he was very honest. I mean, I now looking, seeing this now, I guess at the time I was like, damn, he was really honest. But I was like, you know what? I was like, okay, well, let's end it and let's end as friends. And we did. And we stopped talking to each other for like 2 years. I did not talk to William for 2 years because
Wow.
he wasn't at the place where I was. So it was wasting. I felt like let's not waste each other's time. And he
So,
agreed.
so did you date in between that?
No,
So
I
were
did
you
not
waiting
talk
for
to him
him?
for 2 years.
So when you were not talking to him, were you waiting for him? Was that even
No, I was dating other people.
okay? That's what I'm saying. You were dating other people. Okay.
Hmm. And he was dating other people.
But
Okay.
see, like I said, it takes that for some men. It takes
Hmm.
that time to realize and understand that this was a good one. I need to either go back, just like what your brother said. If a man wants you, he's gonna come for you, and that's what
Hmm.
William did. He had his opportunity to grow up, and he went back to her.
Yes.
But the fact that and kudos to you guys, because the fact that you still gave him that opportunity, and
Yeah.
that's not common. A lot of other women will move forward and just settle or date something else. Because I always look at it this way. If you know what your sexual market value price is, or what your sexual market value place is, because men sexual peak is a lot later than women as far as the women that desire men. When you're 18, 19 years old, you just want a physical specimen. You just want a good looking man. You're not worried about his career path, what he does for a living. That's not your concern, right? So most men, their peak earning years are 30 to 35, right? So at that point, he becomes more desirable to women because they look at the opportunities as far as he's successful, he's stable, he has all these great qualities that I want. That's why you see such the drastic, like an older man dating younger women, or younger women going for older men. Because at that moment in time, their mentals align, And I always give that example of what was the lady's name? She married the guy that played Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Lisa Bonet or something.
Right. And she's much older than what he is. But if you look at in the media now, in the news now, they're getting divorced. And she came out and said that I'm allowing him to be free. Mind you, he's like in his mid-30s. So his sexual market value has shot up through the roof, not only just because him being a celebrity and being what most women would consider an attractive man, but she's on the back end. She's like in her late 50s. So sexually, she can't keep up with his desires, right? So at that point, I mean, that's another thing you got to take in consideration as well. Most men are very aware that, you know what, I don't think I'm ready at 22, 23 years old. You're not ready for that because you know what's to come. You know where you're headed in life, and you don't know what type of crowd that's going to bring or how to navigate those waters. But having a wife at that age, to me, it is a recipe for disaster.
But there's so many women out there who are in their 50s who want to get married, but guys in their 50s and 60s do not want 50 and 60-year-old women.
Right, because it's nothing that woman can do for them at that point. Either, okay, so if I'm a man, I'm going to give it to you this way. If I'm a man and I'm in my 50s, right? Let's say I'm 52, 53. I don't have any kids, right? I'm going to go get me a younger woman that I can have kids with, where I know my kids have an opportunity to be healthy and prosper in life, correct? But not only that, but a lot of those women, you got to think about, a lot of those women have turned down good men, have pretty much turned them down or either ran them off because, oh, he ain't this or he ain't got this or he don't do this or he don't do that. And they pass up good men and they get to that age, and then it becomes, I want to be married because you don't want to die alone. That's the ugly truth about it. That's
why now they got to date 80-year-old men.
It didn't say that. You can date whatever you want to date, but you got to understand what you qualify for. If I'm a 50-year-old man and I already have my life together and I know, hey, I got about 10 more years and I'm retiring, guess what? If I get with another 50-year-old woman, she better have that same goal or that same ambition in mind.
You're right about that. Yeah.
That's what I hope her kids
they got to both have the same mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. Because at that point, there's no really like, I can't grow you because you're already there with me. So with older men dating younger women, I feel like a lot of them look at it like, I can grow this woman. I can nurture this woman to be what I
nurture.
Need.
So basically, sounds like he wants to be a father to somebody.
Sounds like it.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. I mean, who wants another daddy? Ain't nobody wants another daddy.
How many times do you hear these young women today say sugar daddy?
A lot.
Thank you.
Lots. But I mean, a lot of these women want to be kept and don't want to work and don't want to do shit. Okay. And want to live these lives that, I mean, and then use their coochies and think. And I tell people, A coochie is a coochie is a coochie. You don't have the best coochie around because it's all the same shit. So is a penis is a penis is a penis. I'm sorry. So it's who you connect with. But I can't be somebody's mother. Let me read some comments. Mika said exactly. I've seen people be engaged for 7 years. Nah, bruh. You right, girl. No.
No.
I get it.
And Brian says, hell, I'm already in my early 50s. And then he says, bingo, Justin. And Mika's looking. And then Brian says, we don't want other mothers as well. Absolutely. And I get that. I mean, hell, I have kids. I don't want to be a man's mother. I want a partner. I
Right.
want somebody that I can learn from and that can learn from me, right? I would not date a younger man. I would not.
But when did you get to that? When did you get to that mind frame though? You
Yeah,
wasn't in
that you
that
wouldn't.
mind
Why
frame.
won't you date a younger man? I do not understand that.
Him. First of all, a man that does not have children will want children. I have about one good egg left. Okay, I'm not having kids. I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to have fat ankles. I'm done. I've had kids. I have kids already, and it wouldn't be fair to him to say, "Well, I don't want kids." He needs to go out there and fornicate or procreate. Sorry, with a younger woman. That's why I wouldn't date a younger man. If he had kids, oh Lord, the mindset. It's a mindset is. Oh, sorry. Mindset is important to me. Like
Okay.
I want a man that I can. I don't know. I want a man that's older than me or my
See, I
age.
don't think you should do that. I think that when you do that and you put specifics, you're closing off what could be possible. So
Listen, I want what I want, honey.
when you say I don't want
Okay?
a younger man, that
I
younger
don't.
man would be perfect for you, Rabia. But your mind is so closed off, you're going to end up with Jackie, whatever. I
Who
was
the hell is Jackie? I ain't ever know Jackie.
I'm just saying, instead of what is perfect for you, damn the age, damn all that. If he has the
Hold
mindset, if
on.
he has children, not have children. And if you
Kim, you've been
guys are
married for how long, Kim? On some real shit. You've been married for a long time. You haven't been out here and listened to this bullshit. Okay. First of all, white men want to date me because yes, I'm black, but I'm a soft Negro. Okay. That's my experience. Oh, is it the rumor true? Do black women taste like berries? Don't come at me like that. First of all, I can't. Okay. I've heard it all. Okay, so no,
That's crazy.
I know. And then younger men, I mean, anyways, Lord, I could tell you stories, but I'm not. The point is, no.
Well, I mean, to Kim's point, I mean, you gotta really truly think about that. You're closing off something that could potentially be there that you didn't even know was there. That
yeah.
could totally catch you off guard and surprise you. But because you have your mind made up, and it's okay. So let's just be real, right? Every man in America would love to have Beyonce, J Lo,
Right.
Halle Berry, every man. But you don't qualify for that woman, okay?
Right.
Whether it's from the financial perspective, whether it's from the looks department, whether it's from the spiritual department, or whether it's from just all around, you don't qualify for that woman. So that may be your target, that may be what you want, but at the end of the day, that's not what's good for you. That's not what's best for you. I just told you that men are and to the point, and I'm going to quote my man Eric Butler, who said, and I quote, "Men's ego are so fragile," and that is one thing that a lot of women do not understand about men. Our egos are fragile, so that man probably proposed or put a ring on that woman's finger because he can't live with the fact of that woman going somewhere else, or live with the fact of that woman having another man, or live with the fact of another man raising his kids. So his ego plays a major part in some of the decisions that he makes. Now, I'm not saying that excuse the behavior of proposing to a woman and you're not ready. I'm not saying that.
Right.
Hmm.
No, no, thanks. I'm gonna pass. I have to read these comments, y'all. Brian says a lot of women believe in all of this madness about men don't know. So they think they must show us the way. True. Man, Mika is hilarious. I gotta read this. Mika says it's the mindset and goal of the couple. These dudes that are in their late 20s come in the DM hard and strong. Go on, little Bobby. need I need someone's fine uncle. Tate says, hey Grace. Hey Tate. And then Brian says, I agree with Rabia. You must be my age or older because younger women want children. I'm 51 and my children are 24 and 28. Only children I'm having are my grandchildren. I feel you. Brian says, the kind of chicken you can take home. Ivan says, shit, I qualify, sir. Do you know who my daddy is? I can have whosoever. I qualify. Okay, sir. I don't want a 25-year-old. I'll tell you that much. Ain't gonna happen. I just can't. And then too, you got to think about this, guys. When you have daughters, right? And I have a 19-year-old. She's gonna be 20. I'm very particular who's around my children. So I'm not bringing a young dude around my children. And I'm talking about because of my background and my experience, right? In that. So for me to be comfortable and not be on all the time, I need to be around someone I can trust with my children. And I'm not going to trust a young person. You know, and the thing is, there's old people that you can't trust either. But I'm going to know, like, by being around you. And sometimes people can conceal themselves. So, I mean, it's a risk you take in either way. But hell no.
But that's just a part of life. You're always going to take a risk. You may think that this person, the greatest thing ever, and then get them behind closed doors, they're a total lunatic. Like you're taking a risk. In the dating world in general, you're taking a risk.
Don't we take a risk?
Butler, there he is.
Eric said, age doesn't determine the frequency two individuals may have. Like values, beliefs, and goals, will should be determining factor. And Trump's age, but age typically generates that gap. But crossover does happen and exists. It does happen. Like my parents, my father was 12 years older than my mother. I mean, he was born in 1927. I have older parents, and she was born in 1939. It worked for them. But in African culture, when you're born as a female, they teach you how to be wives off the bat. And so they teach you to put up with a lot of shit that we in the Western world now and will not deal with. But she put up with a lot of shit that she shouldn't have. But even like when I was telling her that I was having issues in my marriage, she was like, no, you got to stay for your children. It's all about the children. You got to stay no matter what. Yeah. You know, and so I mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, marriage is look how divorce rate is so high. You know, it's a flip of the coin. You know, it's work. It's a lot of work.
But that's what's scary.
I've been married for 25 years. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You think relationship is work? No, marriage is work.
But that's what's scary to a lot of us men, though, is the fact of, like you just pointed out, the divorce rate. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of the younger generation is shying away from the marriage. A lot of them are having life partners.
That's a new thing, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Because it becomes the legality of things. It's not the same because you see so many people get divorced and it's this nasty, ugly, big blow up, and no one wants to deal with that.
But you know what? I'm okay with someone being together for years and it just be a monogamous relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because Grace, you just hit it dead on. Like, mother had to put up with a lot of things that you necessarily wouldn't put up with. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us can speak from grandparents to great grandparents that, you know, grandpa, raised his family, but he also had another kid over here, or also had a second family over here, you know? So it's a very difficult situation to deal with when you're speaking of marriage, because I don't know, for most men that I know that are married, they always say the same thing. Like, yo, once I got that ring on my finger, it just seemed like all these other women just came out of the woodwork, because they seeing that ring symbolize commitment. They're seeing that ring says, well, he providing for somebody, or he doing good for somebody. Why not that be me? You know? So for me personally, I sort of feel what the younger generation is doing as far as like, yo, no, don't do that. That's you can still get the ring, you can still do the ceremony, but you don't have to go down and be like, yeah, let's sign all these documents, sign all this paperwork. You don't necessarily have to do that. Because when you put the state in your business, that's where it becomes ugly.
But you know what though? As I was talking, I'm just thinking like there's not really a box to check of how it should be. Your relationship is unique to whoever you're with, really. At the end
I
of the
think
day,
so
it comes to
too.
that. Who says there's a right and wrong way? I mean, you may meet somebody and get married in 3 months, and somebody may say, well, that's too fast. But what is too fast? I mean, it
Yeah.
depends. You know that person, they know you. You have conversation because pillow talk and talking to regular people, that's two different talks. So you all know that. You know, that's and I'm not talking about sex now. I'm just talking about those intimate
Yeah, yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
You know, it's different. So a person, they may see the vulnerable side of you where other people don't see it, and they can't understand why would you marry this person. But
Right.
who says that it has to look like everybody else?
Yeah,
It's really
absolutely.
different.
It
Okay, let
really
me
does
read some
not.
comments. Ivan says it's off the rip. I almost okay, Grace, not off the bat. Say off the rip. Eric Butler says your whole government name. I'm sorry, sir. I'm right. Agreed, Rabia. Mika says agreed. Brian says preach, but I was never offended as much coochie in my life. I almost want to go get another one just to meet woman. Wow. Mika says, nah, he gonna marry me. Okay, girl. Uh Ivan says Keith Sweat says that's a right and a wrong way to love somebody. Okay, no, but I think a lot of times, even like when I think about my culture, right, the way we do things in relationships and the way we do things when there's marriage, like I gotta really think about it. Like, hey, like you with an American guy, he's not gonna do the same things that Africans are gonna do. How do we create a balance, right? I mean, that's a lot because I'm like, I didn't know my people, then I know him. How do we bring this together effectively? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they like or don't like. I mean, it's who I'm living with. Now, of course, there's things we both have to bend, but it's the person I'm going to live with for the rest of my life. You know, you got to think about that stuff and not let culture dominate your relationship because that's very, very easy to do. Like Mika says, bye. And then Eric says, we put too much emphasis on marriage as an institution. Connection with the person and mutual benefits shared between the people are parts of the union. That should be the ultimate desire and factor, right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
totally
Absolutely. I totally agree.
yeah.
yeah. I think that's important. In the scenario, guys, I was rereading it, and she made a statement. She said that she thinks that he wants to be with her because she has a sizable did you all see that a
Yeah.
sizable
Heritage.
and she feels that that plays a part into why but I don't think so.
No, no. If it was about the inheritance, he would have hurried up and did it before he
Maybe
graduated
listen.
college. It would
Thank
have
you.
been done.
I
And
agree.
then, if it's just, like I said, either that's just not something that he sees that's necessary, or you just don't qualify for that with this man. And moving on or moving forward with your life isn't bad, but I have to go back to what Brian comment was about Kim's friend. Like, does she still love this man? Was she still thinking about this man? Like, that can bring problems in the next relationship or that marriage or whatever the case may be. Because you may start having regrets or start sort of having a little distaste for this man that you're with because now you see this other man that you love so much and wanted to be with, you see him doing things.
I mean, unless he's a totally different man that's opposite to what she's had,
He's
then
totally opposite of what she had. Totally opposite. She appears, I've talked to her, she is happy. She is has a baby boy, and they're just a happy couple, you know, and they're doing it. And we don't even talk about her ex. I just remember going through that period with her of those 7 years and when
wow.
she did end it, you know. So yeah, but I mean, marriage, no marriage. I love being married. I think when you're married and it creates a covenant, and so it is. It's a covenant between you, the Lord, because it's just not you and Him, but now you've made a covenant with God too, and so we make a covenant that I won't break covenant and William won't break covenant. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
it's a bond that's strong. I I have friends that have been in 5-year relationships. They have children. They just live together. They're partners, and they like it that way. They don't talk about marriage. Older people will kind of bring it up like, when y'all get married, but
Right.
you
Right.
know, they're
Let
not in
me
a rush. They're not in a hurry. They're just living life. And like you said, that's the young generation, right? Because this is a young generation that says, hey, I'm just happy just being in this space.
So Kim, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
In regards to, do you feel as if you could have that same covenant or bond or have God in your marriage if you're not married legally?
I think that you can. I believe that you can. But I think probably because the way that I grew up, because of my age, and you know, because I'm not with the I guess not really the new generation, but I'm part of that old generation. I guess marriage was the thing that you did next. But I believe that you can, sure.
Okay.
I mean, have God in it. And I don't know, is it harder? Is it easier to leave though? Is it easier just to walk out if there's nothing that's keeping you there? But you know what I'm saying?
But what's keeping you there in the marriage besides a piece of paper?
You're right. You're right.
I
You're
mean,
so right.
that's
You're right,
just
Justin. I agree. I
that's
think
just
it's the same.
because I feel like, when you establish that relationship, when you establish that bond and that agreement with that individual, that I'm totally committed to you, I want to be with you forever.
Mhm.
Does a paper define that? Like,
No,
does going down
no,
to a court or filing with the state, does that define that to be, well, you can't leave? Look, I own you. That's
no,
damn near
no,
slavery again.
no. I mean, no.
No,
And like I
I
said,
mean,
there's so many successful people out there that are making it work. You
Right.
know,
Brian says they should answer the second Tuesday next week. That's when I'm getting married. And then Eric says, say that, Caraway. Wow. She, in the scenario, okay, she says, partnership, marriage, and kids were not part of my life plan. I was a free spirit. I enjoyed traveling alone. He knew that. I almost feel like she's accusing him. Like, why did you disturb me? Why did you disrupt my life? Because I think, for me, I think it brought up desires in her. I think she wants to get married. I don't think she's okay with just having this long ass engagement. She's not okay with it. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so
I
pressed.
agree, Rabia.
Because to me, I feel like she's pressed. Like,
Yeah.
why are you pressed? I thought you were cool with it. No, you're not cool with it. Then say that. Instead of taking your rings off and creating an atmosphere that's so charged, you have children. Okay. So, I mean, what worse can you do, right? Say how you feel and make a decision at that point. But she's pressed. I don't even think that the money is a big deal to her. I really don't.
No, definitely not. I mean,
Uh-uh.
if it was a big deal, he would have did it. When instead of all the delays, it would have been happened. If it was about the money. Uh,
It's a big deal to her, though. It
yeah,
may not be a big deal to him, but the money, the inheritance that's coming to her is a big deal to her because she is unsettled. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't know. Is this why
Right.
you love me? Is this why why am I in this position? You
I
know?
think
So the money does play a role. It's playing a big role in their relationship.
I think I don't know, Kim. I feel as a
Really?
woman, because think about women as why we emotional, right? She wants that man to marry her. She probably came in not wanting to get married, but then now she's lived this life. She got the kids, she got all the things that look like marriage.
I know.
Now she wants that.
but
I mean,
to me, I think, if she's truly gonna own up to being the free spirited that was never part of my future plans, why not just have that conversation of, look, babe, I feel like I'm pressuring you by bringing this conversation up or bringing these topics up. So we know what we have. Let this ring be a symbol of that. And let's just agree that we'll wait until that day is ready. Until you're ready to do that, I'm going to continue to wear this because this is what we know it to be. This is what it symbolizes to us. Why not have that conversation? That's much easier conversation to have than, oh, I'm going to take them off, put them in the drawer.
Yeah, but I have a ring, but you don't have a ring. So when I go out in public, people know, oh, I'm engaged. But you walking around like happy-go-lucky.
No,
You get to walk around with no ring. The only way people know that you are in a committed relationship is if you actually have to say it.
I mean, Kim,
but you want me to keep the ring. I'm with her. Give the ring back.
No, I ain't give my ring away.
Well, if that's the case, then go get that man a ring. Or if not, then who doesn't really, like you said, that's between you and your partner. So people that know you and understand y'all, they may have questions or whatever. And if you feel like it needs to be explained, then you can explain it. But as far as going out in public and, oh, they can see I have a ring on and you don't, then I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean anything. We don't want everybody. Yes. What's the number one thing you hear in black marriages, at black weddings? Keep everybody out your business, right? So you putting that ring on your finger or you not having a ring on your finger with everybody bombarding you with questions does what? Put everybody in your business. And that's the one thing you always hear at black weddings. Keep everybody out your business, right?
True. And then also a woman wants a man. A woman wants a man to wear a ring. A lot of women want men to wear rings because, like, oh, well, then people know he's married, so then he won't cheat. He will cheat whether he has a ring or not. He's going to use that ding-a-lang. I mean, you can't keep nobody. I mean, realistically, that ring, I mean, it's a symbol. It's wonderful, yes. But you can't, no one can be kept if they don't want to be kept, man or woman.
Bingo. Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
So Brian has a question. He says, why so, sir, I've been drinking Jesus juice. Why are people want to get married due to love or because that's what's expected? Kim, do you think, why do people want to get married? Because it's what's expected? Or do you think it's because of love? What do you think?
I think it is, first of all, I think it's what's expected. Marriage, marriage is just expected. This society expects you to get married. And I think we're turning the curve on that. Like, young people, like I said, I have a lot of young people in my life and they are just living with people and they are just living with their partners.
Right.
And not just not just months or whatever. I'm talking about years, living with their partners for years. So, I mean, but I think it's just an expectation from society,
It is. And also your morals, how you grew up, what kind of environment you grew up in. Yeah. I mean, I come from a culture where marriage is expected. And even like me living in the US, okay, when I think about it, I want to get married. I don't want to live with somebody. I want to get married. Does that make it wrong or right? No, it's just what I want to do, right? It's not a wrong thing. I mean, if people choose to do that, hey, that's you.
Yeah.
It won't work for me. You know what I'm saying? So really it goes back to that. Mika says, it's a big deal to her. She's just scared to admit it. I agree. She wants marriage and that's okay. But just have the conversation. If you want marriage, say it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. If you don't want to say it, again, nothing to be ashamed of. And you're right, Mika. I think a lot of times people, that you don't want your pride to be hurt. But think about it. This is the man that you want to marry. Yeah. Should there be pride? I mean, really, should there be pride? Can you not be that vulnerable with him?
Yeah, exactly.
Because vulnerability is important when you're in that relationship. Some of us have got to work at it more than others, but you have to be willing to let those walls down. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's just not.
Also, I think that guy's coming from a lot of trauma from his first marriage, which we really didn't talk about, but I think he has a lot of trauma from that. So marriage, I know a lot of these kids out here have been in homes where their parents stayed together, but it was a horrible marriage.
Girl.
So you have a lot of these young people who are like, screw that. I'm just gonna, I'm not getting married. I'm just gonna live with my partner. And this is the way it's going to be. I don't want to get married because I've seen a bad marriage and I don't want that. So you have a lot of people coming from that aspect. Also, he is coming from a place of trauma because he had such a horrible first marriage. But once again, I think that has to be a conversation had, like, I'm just afraid, or I just don't want to do that because I've seen how it happened this, and I don't want this to happen to us, or whatever kind of conversation they need to have, but they need to have a conversation. But trauma is definitely playing a part in this brother's not wanting to, to laugh whenever she brings it up, or snicker, or
now
make
he's
a
choking.
face, or
He's choking. Hey, I'll be like, "What's up?"
Choking like.
Why are you stuttering? So what's the problem?
Marriage.
Eric says that ring don't make no difference. It will always comes back to how any individual conduct themselves either way. Absolutely. And then he says, right, Rabia. And then he says, wedding rings are simply a money grab from the De Beers Diamond Company. That's why you must go to South Africa, honey, and get your ring. Okay. They didn't have engagement.
We got a plug in South Africa now.
Yeah, they didn't have engagement, no wedding rings until the 1930s, I think. So I was thinking, I think it was Justin, when Justin was talking about, I'm not going to mention this family member because in case one of my family members actually watch this at some point, but I had a family member that they used to visit their mistress across the street from where they lived. And then when the husband would come back, the wife would never question him. She would never say anything to him. Like there was no arguments in the house, which, it's not normal. Your husband just went and had some cookies and milk at somebody's house down the street, and he came back home and you making him tea and fixing his bath, huh? In 2022? No, that's not going to happen. But that's what I've seen. But even seeing that doesn't like put me against marriage. I think a lot of times people don't want to get married. Like the guy is traumatized because of what happened in his first relationship. I mean, they're not going into detail, but she even admits that she thinks he's traumatized or he's scarred because of that.
And once again, that brings up an opportunity for her to have that conversation to help him get past that, which in return is going to do what? Pull him in even closer, because we recognize that as men that, oh, I can be vulnerable with her. Oh, she will be understanding. Oh, she's willing to hear me out and honestly pay attention. Because for many of us men, it's always you cater to the woman. You make sure she's okay. The saying, happy wife, happy life, right?
Toxic, but anyway.
Yeah, but it's so true, especially here in America. It's so true where you hear that more often than not. And one of the other things that I always hear is that, once you're married, all it does is enhances the relationship. So the things you may feel like this person doesn't bring to the table, or this person you don't necessarily like this or that about them, if that enhances, what's going to end up happening? More than likely, it's going to end up in a divorce, right? Because most people are rushing into something that they're truly not ready for.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of times people don't take control of their healing. They're not honest about where they are at all. We don't take care of our mental health. We don't make sure that when we go into the next relationship, we're not taking all this luggage and baggage. Of course, you'll have some things. And for God's sake, let it be residue, but don't take like all your luggage where you're taking it out on your next partner, because that didn't work out. And I think we don't take enough time to take care of ourselves, and we jump from relationship to relationship looking for those wounds to be filled. And that is not smart. I think it's good when people take a break, step back and say, you know what? I'm not worried about what you did, but what about me? Like, how am I preparing myself for my husband or for whatever relationship I'm going to be in? We don't do that. It's like a microwave society. Oh, the next one. Oh, he looked good. Oh, she looked good.
Bingo.
Oh, what? And it's like for a few seconds, 2 minutes? And then you're like, what reality sets in.
But the thing is this, for me personally, this is why I feel like it's so important that we teach our youth, or whether it's our kids, whether it's people that we run into and see, we teach them the importance of dating and how to date, how to properly date. Because most men, we don't know. Most men, when you're 16, 17, you're all hormonal, you're all over the place. You just looking for a woman that's gonna let you advance and y'all get y'all little thing on, right? So if you teach that man how to control himself, how to really position himself to look for quality, not quantity, but quality women, that it's not that, how do I put this?
I just had a thought.
Like a lot of us, we don't run into quality women. We meet women that honestly are, like we said, that are looking to be taken care of or looking for, hey, I just want to be chosen because you look good. Well, there's nothing else there. And
Right.
we all know this, the physical aspect of the relationship is eventually going to fade. And if there's nothing else there outside of that physical, what have you learned? How have you grown? How has this person enhanced you? How has this person helped you elevate your life and your skills as a young adult? And if you can't give any substance or any answers to those questions, then obviously that's the person you do not need to be dating.
You know, you're right. I agree, but I was just thinking as you were talking, Justin, and this may be controversial, but I believe. Well, let me read this comment first. Eric says real self-assessment is critically important and is lacking in today's society on both sides. You're right.
Yep.
Many are wounded, afraid, and hurt. So I have a son and he's 14, right? And I had to change the way I parented him because I realized that as I'm preparing my daughters for life, I got to prepare him with that same mindset. I can't raise a man the way a man should be raised, right? I mean, obviously that doesn't work, but there's some things as a woman or as a mother that I can impute into him. And that one of the things I do is teaching him how to treat a woman by actually treating him a certain way. So he knows, like, okay, this is what you look for when you meet women. And those are things that we as single parents or mothers can do for our sons, because many women are bitter. So they'll say niggas ain't shit. And what you're doing is damaging your son because he's going to think his mother doesn't like men. And so he's going to feel disrespected, right? His mother doesn't respect men because she's mad and she's angry and she's hurt. So she's talking all this shit, right? And this child is eating it up. He's just eating it up. He's just sucking it in. And then what happens? He grows up and he's emotionally unavailable. He doesn't know how to express himself. And you're raising a man that is not even present. So I'm sharing this because they think that I had to change in my household to make sure. Because one day I was like, okay, girl, what are you doing? This is not working. And as I began to heal for myself, my parenting style changed. I started doing things differently because I realized that, hey, the male figure in his life is not showing him certain things. So I'm going to have to double up and do those things. But I think um, relationships and how to be in a relationship, I think it starts at home. That's what I think. So
Agreed. And I totally agree there. I just feel as if a lot of today's women are how to be not taught how to be wives. They don't have the examples. They, whether, like you said, hearing the niggas ain't shit, or, oh, he better cook his own food, or he better like the fly, the I don't need a man mentality. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that women need men, we need each other. We gotta have a balance. We have to figure out a way to balance each other and be able to coexist to be on the same page. But the mindset of a lot of today's women, the mindset of, then you ain't shit, I can do it on my own, or I can just replace you, go find something bigger and better. Like, all right, well, if that's out there, then good luck to you, and keep it pushing. But I've always felt like for women, you don't want to be controlled by a man's wallet. And what that means is you don't want to be dependent on what this man brings to the table determines how your life is spent, or how you move in life in general. And I see that more often than not, and it's really sad, to be quite honest with you.
Agreed.
I wanted to say before I know we're about to exit, but I wanted to say about the dating thing. I do not like youth or people that aren't mature to date, because I know you're saying teaching the young people how to date. My thing is that when people date a lot in high school, they date, they break up, they date somebody else, they break up. I believe it's just teaching them how to divorce later on, because you can't stay in a committed relationship because, first of all, you're immature, right? So you're dating this girl for a month and then you're going dating Sally and then you go over here and date Susie. And so you're going through this whole cycle while you're still young. So when you do get into a marriage and it's not going the way that you want it to, or it's too hard, or whatever the case may be, it's easy for you to get a divorce instead of trying to stay and fight because you've gotten into that practice while you were in high school. So I think people should kind of get a little maturity on them before.
I don't know if I agree
When
with
my
that.
when I have parents that tell me, "Oh, they're 13 and she's dating," then I
No,
see her two
that's
weeks later
young.
and she's crying because
That's
Bobby
young.
broke up with her. Oh, you know what? Well, she goes out and 2 weeks later she's dating John. I'm like, okay,
13
like
is too young.
no, I'm telling you, these are the youth of
No,
today.
yeah, you're exactly
This
right.
is
Exactly. I
this is
mean,
the youth of today. This is
Yeah.
the youth of today. So what it teaches them is that, oh yeah, if it gets too hard, just divorce.
Well,
It's easy. Just
no,
leave.
like
you,
Because
for
guess what?
us,
You don't have no papers. It's not,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's too hard. Just leave.
like for us back, well, not even back in the day, but when I was growing up, the thing was we go together. Like in school, it was the we go together, meaning we holding hands or we walk in the hallways and we look like an item, but both of us broke. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going. We may get lucky and be able to catch the bus to the movie theater and meet you at the movies. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But even
Right.
then, it's
I
like,
mean, but today
you,
parents are giving their kids debit cards.
no, no,
So it's a whole nother, it's a different ball game now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, hold on though. I gave my son a debit card, but not for those reasons. I mean, he's not dating at 14. I agree and disagree, and I'm on the fence with that. I think that 13 is too young to date. In my household, that shit's not gonna happen. Okay? No, clean your room first because you don't know how to clean your damn room or even wash your ass correctly. So you're not dating. I'm saying, I'm sorry. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. I think that dating allows you to figure out what you like and what you don't like. But I think as you get older, maybe when you're 17, 18, I think that's acceptable, right? Because if I'm going to stay with you at 13, say 13, because you're saying that's today, then I'm going to deal with shit that I don't need to deal with because, oh, you got to stay, you got to figure. I'm not figuring shit out at 13. Bye. Because Bobby down the street's going to send me a text and say, hey, you want to be my girl? You see what I'm saying? That age, yeah. But at 17 and 18, you need to be able to teach your children what's acceptable and what's
Oh, yeah.
but
At 16,
personally,
16, 17, 18, perfect.
okay,
13,
let me
I
read some
can't.
comments. The concept of roles are vilified by women of today. Sorry to say, but it's the facts. True. You said roles. Kim, I see that too. I don't see like I haven't had issues with my daughter. She's 19 dating because she said to me, "Mom, I don't want to date until I'm ready to date," which I was glad because she's like, mentally, I'm not ready. But how does she know this? Because I stay talking. I'm not convincing her not to date. So for me, it goes all back to the parents. How's your mental health? What are you imputing into your children? What are you
Mhm.
teaching them? Are you niggas ain't shit? Or are you
Yeah.
talking? It goes
Yeah.
back to you. I'm sorry, it goes back to the parents.
It's got to come from a healthy place. I agree.
Yes.
It
yeah,
does.
definitely. But
Yo,
but does it? I mean, you guys having or you raising a daughter at 19, her dating life is gonna look a lot different than your son's dating life
right.
at 19, and especially how do I put this? Like most guys, when they hit that mark, that puberty mark, where it's like, I just want a girl and I need one ASAP. It's gonna be things that you're
Oh.
not aware of. It's gonna be things that transpire at school, outside in the neighborhood, hell, even maybe at church. That you,
Ah,
I'm just being honest. That
I'm
you
gonna
may
teach you
not be aware.
purity.
Well, I'm just saying. So how do you handle that as far as like, I get it. You're saying, hell no, 13, 14, you're not dating. I get that. I understand that. But these kids now have technology that may be even too advanced for you. They may be sending their girlfriend, you ain't got to call the house phone no more. Shoot me an email. Or
No, you're right.
You're right. Dating is
You're
totally
right.
different now. Totally
It is,
different.
and it's
But once
scary.
again, it does have to come from a healthy place. It has to.
It does, because honestly, a couple of years ago, I was like, no, I want him, my son now. Okay, this is a dream. I want him to. He's like when I'm praying over him, I always say, "You'll have one wife," and then I had to back up and say, "You not his Holy Spirit or his God." I hope he has one wife. I hope that he doesn't have several sexual partners. I hope that I want him to be a virgin when he gets married. But then I was like, am I realistic? Is it realistic?
you live
I
in
mean,
America.
I know.
What I mean, why
No,
can't it happen? But
I'm
I've
sorry.
known some guys that have waited. I've known some men that have. It was their wife was their first experience. So
child,
I do
it's
No,
know.
more.
are you serious?
Yes. Yes.
Seriously, like no,
Yes.
no, like they're being dead serious with you.
Yes. They waited for their wives, guys, and they're with their wives right now. They are married to their wives, and their wives and them. They were the first. They were together the first time. I know couples like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That is like really impressive to me because it's really unheard of. In a hey, my hat's off to that couple
I
because
know.
I don't know, man. I just don't realistically see that, and
Yeah.
it's crazy to me because I remember being in you know early 20s and trying to do the whole dating scene and how that works out and the number one question was how many kids you got, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
just I don't know. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, most people when you say things like that they're gonna think, well, they must not have been attractive people, or they must not, they must not align themselves with the right crowd.
guys, this topic has been amazing, but we have to wrap it up. We didn't even get to our actual topic, which we'll talk about next week. Are you available next week, Justin, by any
Yeah,
chance?
sure.
Okay, that will be awesome to have you again. To have you
Yay!
again.
Y'all gotta give me an episode too. Y'all gotta come on and show love.
Yeah, we got you.
Yes, yes. Invite me on. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I got you because I just looked at the schedule and it's like Cigar Chronicles comes on at 8:30. I was like, oh snap! I'm like, get your life together, girl. But this was so interesting because I didn't mean to. I mean, get into this, but this was a good topic, I think, because I'm really big on parenting and raising our children realistically, like about
Mhm.
real shit that's happening, not all this fairy tale stuff. Being in ministry, we raise them a certain way. You can't talk about certain things. That's not realistic. It's
Gotcha.
not. And so that's why I feel so passionate about that, like just
So
Be authentic with
yeah.
I'm
your
gonna ask Eric.
children.
I'm gonna ask one request before we get off.
Okay.
Eric, would you please tell everybody that's watching, just type it in the chat. Let everybody know your motto, your saying. I think it's like TVR or something like that, which is like truth, reality, and something. Just wait, he'll pop up and share it with us.
Okay.
But that's my mentor, and I mean, this guy, since I met him within my job, he has always been someone that I can look for guidance, inspiration, just everything. And he has
Yeah.
some wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom that I'm pretty sure you can see it in the comments now. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's great, and I always gotta show respect and give him his flowers every time I get an opportunity to run across him. He put it
Um,
in.
Yeah, he did. He said, truth, balance, and reality. That's facts.
That's it.
And
And,
that's what you need.
and I feel like honestly, with what you guys are doing here on the show, that's perfectly said right there.
No, that's what our thought was when we decided to create this show.
Oh
Because
yeah.
at one point we're all the way too spiritual. It wasn't realistic. It was not realistic about how life should be. And it's like, okay, because then your kids start thinking if you do something, then it's so wrong, and then they're more inclined to want to do those things. I mean, they're gonna do it anyway, but it's not like they're chasing us. They have now a healthy, outlook and approach to things versus the way we were raised.
The balance is there.
It's definitely a balance. Yeah. So, guys, I just want to thank you guys for listening. As you know, life is about progression and not perfection, because after all, life happens, right? See you guys next week. Bye.
Are you going to show the video?
Girl, why would you ask me that now? Oh.